The gift of actually listening to someone without fixing their problems for them, without topping them. That's nothing, you should hear my story. Without playing mind games about what could I do with this information, how could I use it? Okay, it's a huge gift. Now, what we don't get feedback on very often is how we listen to people. So we're going to spend 2 minutes where A, who is telling the story, will actually feed back to B how they absolutely knew B was listening. And I want you to also have the courage, if you are A and you went, I think they were around about the 60% mark. They really have monkey mind going on, I reckon. I would love for you to say, for me to really feel even listened to further, I would have liked these things to happen. Okay? So, feedback on how you are as a listener, because we never ask for this very often. Those of us who become more senior managers dodge it occasionally. Is that just me or is that everyone else? Okay. All right, so feedback on how you knew you were being listened to. A, give that to B, please. So one of the basics that we want to do is to, when we're communicating with people, give them the dignity and the courtesy of being with them in all ways. Now, some of us are guilty, even with the most significant relationships in our life, of being physically present, but occasionally not psychologically available. Yes, anyone suffered from that? Okay. So what I'd like to do now is to introduce you to a very, very simple model. For the last 25 years that I've been studying communication, there are numerous models on communication, and this is sort of a hybrid of quite a few of those models I'd like to present to you. And I typically call it the pedestal pit moments. Now, I want to ask you the question, those of you that are in workforces currently, do you ever come across individuals that think they're slightly superior to others? Significance-driven individuals. Yes? You sort of know it because they let you know it. They perhaps tell you that they know more, that they've been around longer, that in my day. Yes? Anyone ever met someone like that? And you feel it. You absolutely feel it. So if this was a model of a continuum line of behaviour, at one end at the extreme we have superiority thinking. Now what would be on the other end of the continuum, do you think? The inferior thinkers, those people that really have genuine belief that they are not worthy or not good enough for the people that they spend the time with in the workplace. So we have superior thinkers and we have inferior thinkers. Now the challenge is we can put ourselves in those positions, or we can be guilty of putting others in those positions at times. We place people, and we call it pedestal and in the pit. We occasionally place ourselves on a pedestal, better than, above others, or occasionally we can be guilty of putting groups or individuals in the pit because of our values and our belief systems about what's different about them. Now here's the scary thing. The greater the difference, the more difficulty the communication. Okay, the greater the distance in the difficulty, the more difficult the communication. So come back and link it to the frequency and the waves that we've just been talking about. If you imagine, a transmission station would work pretty well if there was close proximity, wouldn't it? And the wave had to travel in a fairly straight line. You'd have a better odd of reception. However, the greater the distance, the more difficulty it is for that frequency wave to actually get to the other person. Worse still is that if one person believes they're better than another and another person thinks they're less than others, we have this syndrome, the pedestal pit syndrome. is everyone getting where I'm coming from? Have you met people or groups in organisations like this? Okay, I'm not stereotyping, but we get a bit of this in all parts of organisations as well. Now, I have to tell you, being a mother of an 18-year-old daughter, I gravitate between pedestal and pit quite regularly. So it's very, very easy to be both. Now, what we find with these pedestal thinkers is that they are incredibly intimidating to work with. This morning I took some information off the web. It actually came from the UK Workplace Bullying Advice Line, and I just want to give you this estimate. They say that 1 person in 30 is a sociopath. How many are in the room here now? All right, so hands up if you are that person. No, 2. We've got a couple of you here, all right? Violent but intelligent, male or female, they express their violence through psychological means. Who has ever had a moment where you've really walked out of a meeting and gone, I damn well know there's sociopaths in that meeting. I really do, all right? We get that sort of dysfunctional behaviour. But in contrast, we get the behaviour of conditioning and almost rewarding victim thinking at times in our workplaces. So we have the victim mentality and the intimidator. Now, you know, how it happens on a day-to-day basis is we get these simple little experiences that happen where people occasionally can feed our ego, and typically when you're a manager of others, you're really important, aren't you? You know, no one can quite do some of the things the way that you do them, and you have to do them yourself because it's quicker and it's easier. Yes? Okay, and occasionally you can be tempted by someone who says, but you're better at it than I am. Couldn't you have a look? You're going to go through with your red pen anyway. And you go, oh, okay, give it to me. Okay. So we can almost feed some of this victim stuff with not actually allowing our staff to grow, to take risks, to communicate with risk involved as well. We see the behaviours start to play out as one of aggressiveness. What are the takeaways here from those 2 little activities that you've just done? The first thing is that we all get so extremely busy in our day-to-day lives, and we spend a lot of time with people in our workplaces that we perhaps could care for a little bit more, get to know a little bit more, give a little bit more time to, and be a little bit more genuine with occasionally. And when you give the gift of listening to someone, when you give the gift of being absolutely present and available to them, it's something that they will hold as something very, very special to them. It increases loyalty, it increases engagement, and it certainly stimulates motivation for people when you actually give them the simplicity of a little bit of your time. It is amazing the result that it gets. And as importantly, it gives you absolutely clear, definable differences in your workplace. We know that leaders that engage with their people, that understand their people, understand the motivation, understand the values and how the value alignment of the individuals and the organisation values make a difference. We know that gives them bottom line business results. So if it's not even innate for you to want to act in that way, it's damn good business sense to learn how to communicate well with people and to get the results. And quite frankly, in today's competitive marketplace, it's very easy to lose people too through the lack of good communication techniques. So the takeaway today is you can't do anything about the past, you can't live in the present, in the future. Those will stop and be present with the people who are presently with you and give them the time and the dignity that goes with that, and you'll reap huge rewards from that. That's all I have time to spend with you today. I hope that today my objective was to not make it a talk fest at you, to give you a little snapshot, a little bit of an overview of some of the things that we do, to encourage you to consider even further how your impact and behaviour, or the impact of your behaviour, creates a difference for people. And let me ask you the final question. When you leave a communication opportunity, do you leave an afterglow or the aftermath? Thank you very much.